In a forgotten hamlet nestled between jagged cliffs, a desolate cemetery lay draped in perpetual twilight. Whispering pines cast elongated shadows that seemed to dance with malevolence under the pallid moonlight. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, an ominous prelude to the terrors that awaited those who dared to venture within. Legend spoke of a tormented soul named Victor, a gifted musician whose symphonies had once filled the village square with joy. But a wretched fate befell him when his beloved wife, Isabella, withered away in the clutches of an enigmatic ailment. Victor's world crumbled, and his music turned into a mournful dirge that echoed through the cemetery's rusted iron gates. On moonless nights, when the veil between the worlds was at its thinnest, Victor's haunting melody would seep into the ears of the living like a malevolent fog. Those who heard it would be consumed by an overwhelming sense of sorrow, as if their own hearts were being strangled by invisible hands. Some claimed to see ethereal figures swaying to the tune, their eyes gleaming with a sickly luminescence. A trio of audacious souls, Eleanor, Marcus, and Clara, resolved to uncover the truth behind the cursed melody. Armed with lanterns and a reckless courage, they ventured into the cemetery's heart. The gravestones stood like solemn sentinels, their inscriptions obscured by time, and the wind whispered secrets that sent shivers down their spines. As the midnight hour approached, the atmosphere grew thick with foreboding. The lanterns flickered, casting macabre shadows that seemed to dance to the rhythm of Victor's mournful notes. Just as doubt began to gnaw at their determination, the air grew frigid, and the earth itself seemed to tremble. And then, emerging from the dense fog, a figure materialized, an emaciated man with hollow eyes that burned like dying embers. Victor, the cursed musician, stood before them, his violin cradled in skeletal fingers. The melody grew louder, seeping into their minds like a poison, conjuring memories of their deepest regrets. Eleanor's vision blurred as she saw herself standing by a grave, weeping for a life unlived. Marcus was consumed by visions of a love lost to his own pride, while Clara was trapped in a cycle of guilt and remorse. The music's grip tightened, threatening to unravel their sanity and bind their souls to Victor's eternal torment. With sheer willpower, Eleanor forced herself to confront the specter. "Why do you haunt this place?" she cried, her voice breaking through the melody's grip. Victor's eyes flickered with a hint of recognition, a fleeting moment of lucidity in his torment. He spoke, his voice a spectral whisper, recounting the pain of losing Isabella and the regret that bound him to this world. Eleanor, Marcus, and Clara united their voices, weaving a counter-melody that mingled with Victor's lament. The cacophony disrupted the sinister harmony, causing the air to tremble and the ground to quake. In a burst of blinding light, Victor's form disintegrated, carried away by the wind like ashes. The haunting melody faded, replaced by a mournful sigh that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, Eleanor, Marcus, and Clara emerged from the cemetery, forever marked by their encounter. The twisted symphony of Victor's curse had been silenced, but its echoes lingered, a reminder that even in death, the power of regret could bind the living and the departed in a dance of eternal suffering. In the heart of a desolate forest shrouded in perpetual mist, an ancient cemetery lay hidden like a scar upon the earth. The trees loomed tall and twisted, their gnarled branches forming grotesque silhouettes against the moonless sky. This was a place where time itself seemed to stand still, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurred into darkness. Among the weathered gravestones, one marker stood out, a monument to tragedy bearing the name Eleanor Gray, taken too soon. The inscription seemed etched with sorrow, a harbinger of the mournful tale that whispered through the chilling wind. Eleanor Gray had been a bride who met her end on her wedding day, her groom vanishing under ominous circumstances. The tale echoed in the nightmares of the villagers, and on a moonless night, a solitary traveler found himself drawn to the cemetery's edge. His footsteps crunched on fallen leaves as he entered the realm of the forgotten. The air grew colder, the atmosphere tinged with a sense of impending dread that clawed at his spine. Rain began to fall, pattering on the gravestones like ghostly footsteps. The traveler sought refuge beneath a gnarled tree, its branches twisting like the fingers of a malevolent spirit. And then he saw her, a figure draped in a tattered wedding gown, standing beside the gravestone of Eleanor Gray. The ghostly bride's face was hidden behind a veil, but her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light that fixed upon the trembling traveler. Her form flickered like a candle in the wind as she wept silently, her tears merging with the raindrops. The traveler's heart pounded in his chest, a mix of terror and morbid curiosity gripping him. Summoning his courage, he approached the ghostly figure, the wet ground squelching beneath his feet. "Are you in need of help?" His voice quivered, the words barely audible over the rain. The bride turned, her veil parting to reveal a face that mirrored the carved likeness on her gravestone, a face eternally trapped in sorrow. "He left me waiting." Her voice, a mournful whisper, trailed like a wisp of smoke. The traveler's heart ached with an inexplicable sympathy as he realized he was in the presence of Eleanor Gray's tormented spirit. She began to recount her tragic tale of a wedding that ended in heartbreak, of promises shattered like glass. Her voice carried the weight of 1,000 sighs, a lament that seemed to pierce the traveler's very soul. With a tremulous voice, he vowed to bring closure to her restless spirit. The traveler journeyed through the woods, his steps guided by an unseen force. He found the groom's gravestone, obscured by undergrowth and time. As he placed a single white rose upon it, a gust of wind swept through the forest, carrying with it Eleanor's ethereal laughter. A bittersweet smile touched her lips as she faded into the rain, the drops mingling with her form like tears of release. The traveler returned to the village, forever haunted by the memory of the ghostly encounter. Eleanor Gray had found solace, but her mournful tale continued to whisper through the trees, a reminder that love and tragedy could bind even death itself in a dance of sorrow and longing. Within the heart of a forsaken forest, a cemetery lay forgotten, its existence concealed by the suffocating embrace of ancient trees. The gnarled branches intertwined above like skeletal fingers, creating a twisted canopy that blocked out the light. Moonbeams struggled to pierce the darkness, casting an eerie glow upon the gravestones that jutted from the ground like crooked teeth. Local legends whispered that the trees themselves were cursed, bound to the souls of the departed who found no peace. To tread upon this land was to invite the restless spirits to awaken, to hear their sorrowful tales, and bear witness to their eternal torment. On a moonless night, a group of thrill-seekers dared to venture into this forbidden territory. Their lanterns cast feeble circles of light that barely penetrated the gloom. As they moved deeper, the air grew heavy with a palpable unease, as if the forest itself was inhaling their fear. The gravestones stood like silent sentinels, their inscriptions worn away by time, and the wind carried whispers that sounded like faint cries for release. But the group was unimpressed, mocking the legends with nervous laughter. That laughter, however, would soon fade into trembling silence. As the witching hour approached, a chill swept through the air, extinguishing their lanterns one by one. Panic gripped the group as shadows danced in the periphery of their vision, and the ground began to tremble beneath their feet. Unearthly moans and whispers swirled around them, echoing like a chorus of the damned. The trees, once merely eerie silhouettes, began to sway with unnatural life. Their branches snaked down like serpents, blocking escape routes and ensnaring the group in a nightmarish web. The whispers grew louder, voices of the long-forgotten who sought solace in the living world. A ghastly figure emerged from the mist, a skeletal form draped in tattered robes. Its eye sockets glowed with a malevolent light, and a hollow voice filled the air, recounting tales of loss and suffering. One by one, the group members were ensnared by the skeletal hands that clawed their way out of the ground. In a desperate bid to break the curse, one of the group members, Sarah, recalled fragments of an ancient burial incantation. She stumbled over the words, her voice trembling with fear, as she hoped to find a way to calm the vengeful spirits. Miraculously, The words resonated, weaving through the air like a lifeline. As Sarah recited the incantation, the whispers faltered, and the skeletal hands began to retreat. The wind howled, the trees quivered, and then, in a shroud of darkness, the spirits were gone. The cemetery fell silent, the air thick with a sense of lingering sorrow. Sarah and her surviving companions emerged from the forest, forever changed by the horrors they had witnessed. The cemetery remained undisturbed, the whispering trees having relinquished their grip on the living world. Yet, the memory of that night would haunt their dreams, a chilling reminder that even in the darkest depths of nature's embrace, the past could claw its way back to inflict its torment on the living. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to become an official member of this channel. Just click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out. If you haven't already, smash that like button to show your support and let us know you're enjoying the content.